What's good, y'all? It's your boy Sean P, the Bluff Guy. Hey! And we are back with another One Piece reaction. Today we will be reacting to Adam JinRakai, who recently had a birthday, as of today's date that I am recording this. So happy birthday, Adam. He also dropped a video on his birthday that I think we should watch, right? That I think that we should watch. And the title of this video is called The Hidden Truth About or Behind Goldie Roger. Now, I don't really know what this video could be about other than the fact that it's about Roger and some hidden truth, right? What could that possibly be? I don't know, but we're about to get into it. But before we get into it, make sure you guys hit that like button. Also, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Comment down below your thoughts on the video at hand. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? Let me know down in the comments. Also, make sure you guys are following me on Twitch so you can catch me live. You can engage with me in real time. And if you want to get at me directly, make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and join the Discord. The Discord is going to be the best place to get at me. That's usually where I'm the most active. I don't really do the other social medias like that other than promotion. If you guys follow me on that, that's probably all y'all see is just the promotion aspect, right? But I actually do engage more in the Discord, so make sure you're a part of the Discord. It's also the best place to send me content to react to. I have a submission channel in the Discord. And if you want to be part of a future discussion stream, you must be a member of the Discord, because that's how you actually join the discussions. The link to this video will also be in the description box below as well. So yeah, we're about to get into the hidden truth of Goldie Roger. What could that be? The thumbnail had his execution, so I don't know if this is about the execution, if this is about like his life, or what it's about. I don't really know, but we are about to get into it. So I'm not gonna waste too much time in trying to set this whole premise up, because I have no idea what this could be about, right? And this is a bit of a long video, so let's get into it.
I'm JinRakai here, and in my last video I kind of talked about page 3 and 4 and how they kind of tie into the true meaning of what the D initial is. And if you want to know more about that, watch this video. I will be touching on some of that later on in this video. But at the end of that one, I kind of promised to, in this video, talk about the very first page of the manga. And I guess the second page as well. But how it all kind of ties.
So I guess we talking about the execution. Kind of like the thumbnail. So I was right with the thumbnail. He wants to talk about the first page, which I think was Roger's execution and everything. So, the moment that set the series up. The death of Goat D Roger. Is that what we should call him, Goat D Roger? I got a new name for Garp, man. I don't call him Monkey D Garp no more. I call him, man, Monkey D Goat, right? I call him Monkey D Goat. He's a goat and a monkey.
Into the overarching mythology in the One Piece series, and in this case mainly Egyptian mythology. Now, it is my personal belief that Oda, with his manga series One Piece, is actually combining essentially all mythologies into one story and one piece of art and fiction. And the amount of ties and connections that come from that are honestly
it says, if you don't see it, it says, well, I'm pretty sure you guys can see it. It says to all blue. So it's kind of related to Sanji's dream. And he says something about Oda kind of meshing all the religions into the story. Yeah, most definitely, right? Because we get a lot of Christian symbolism with the crosses. Like Kuma has a Bible, right? We also get kind of like the sun god Nika, which is sun god, and a lot of religions worship a sun god. That's their god, the sun god, and a lot of times they have multiple gods as well. But and usually in religions that have multiple, like especially a lot of the older religions, right? Like the Aztec religions and stuff. And their supreme god is a sun god, right? Like where the Romans, their supreme god is Zeus, or not the Greeks, and the Romans. The Greeks and the Romans, like the ancient Greeks and Romans, pretty much worship the same gods. It was just they had different names, and some of their origins might have been a little different. I mean, I'm not like too well educated on all those things. I'm not like a theologist. I think that's what we would call somebody who studies religions. I'm not like somebody who studies religions, but I know a lot of surface level stuff when it comes to these religions. And I know Greeks and Romans, like Zeus is pretty much Jupiter in Roman mythology. Zeus, who is like the Greek god Zeus, is the Roman god in Roman mythology.
Infinite. And this video is kind of going to start to unravel some of that and just kind of show basically this huge multiversal web that Oda has spun starting from page 1 of the manga. And we're going to focus mainly on Egyptian myths here. And we're also going to kind of get to the exact chapter that the One Piece as we know it is.
I would also say this though, the Egyptian mythology is kind of like Egypt. Egypt kind of inspired most other religions, if you think about it. Like in general, Egypt inspired a lot. Like Egypt, I want to say was like the first real advanced civilization, you could say. Like I think I want to say, somebody could correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody who might be who might be smarter at this. But I want to say Egypt had like a sewage system. Like they had systems in Egypt, like a lot of systems that we have today, like sewage systems and stuff like that. I think, they had stuff like that back in Egypt, except it was, of course, it wasn't as advanced as today. But I mean, bro, they built the pyramids. Like now in modern times, we don't even know how they built the pyramids, because I don't even think we could replicate building the pyramids. Egyptians somehow did it though. A lot of people like to say aliens and stuff. And I'm not going to play too much into that because, who knows, but a lot of people think aliens created the pyramids.
Is going to be found, and what exactly that will be, but that'll be at the end of the video, so stay tuned. And so with that, once again, my name is JinRakai, and this video is going to be all about uncovering the truth behind Roger's.
Also, y'all go show Adam some love. He has a very complex way of thinking, I won't lie, but he has some interesting takes. So y'all go show him some love. He comes at things from a very abstract way. Like I did a video where it was this old soccer player who it was like an old soccer player who won a game, but it was the way he won it, right? And he kind of connected it with One Piece and everything. So very interesting views.
Execution and the secrets hidden behind the very first page of the manga. This is also probably a great time to tell you to please like and share and subscribe and all that stuff, and comment what you think at the end of this video and all that jazz. And so to start off this video, I'm going to kind of have to go through a quick summary of some of the original Egyptian myths, and mainly the myths surrounding Apep / Apophylis / Ririk. I know there's been some videos online before, and I know Marshall.
I ain't even going front. I know very few. I probably know more about Greek mythology than I do Egyptian mythology. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's a lot of gods I'm not really familiar with when it comes to Egyptian mythology. Like, I know about what's his name? Amen, I think. Osiris, Set. I know a few of them. But I'm gonna probably have to dig into Egyptian mythology a little more just to like educate myself. Like I'm not really big into like, mythology and history. I'm not big into history in general, honestly. To me, history is history. I'm the type person, I look forward. I don't like to look back. I like to look forward. You know what I mean? I like to live in the now, and I like to look forward. Like that's kind of my way of life, I guess you could say. So I don't really like to look back, but it is important to look back, you know what I mean? Because you learn a lot from history, and they say history repeats itself. So, you know, it is important to look back. So, you know, don't take my view on life and apply that to you. That's just me. You know, that's just me. You can though. If you want to roll like that, hey, I'm not telling you not to either, but it is good to educate yourself on history just so you could avoid when history repeats itself, you could avoid certain things. You know what I'm saying? Now, and I'm also not saying I'm not familiar with history, because I do know a lot of stuff in history. So, you know, don't get me wrong on that either. You know. Andrew said we don't know how they were able to do it. And then One Blunt says the Japanese nation tried to recreate the pyramid construction using modern tech and failed. Angel says we can do it. Bro, if they tried and they failed, how you going to continue to say we can do it? If it hasn't been done and people tried and they failed, and we can't do it. At least not now we can't. Maybe eventually we'll be able to, but not at the moment. You know, like, it's just, you know, receipts matter, man. He said, I only know Yami from Yu-Gi-Oh! Joking, of course. Let's continue.
Marshall D. Preach has one, but in my opinion, no offense to him, those dudes are great, but the video itself kind of greatly minimizes Apep's role in Egyptian creation mythology.
Shots fired. Boo, 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 boo. Nah, I'm joking. Don't take that serious. Like I said, I'm not trying to start that between Marshall D. Preach and Adam. It was just a good chance to insert a joke there. And I know I ruined the joke, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I ruined the joke just to avoid any unnecessary drama.
So we're going to start with kind of just going over a little bit of that stuff and then getting into how it ties into all of this stuff.
It look like it's tickling the snake.
These rituals are and what Oda's kind of playing with and trying to teach us, starting with the very first page of the manga. So when it comes to Egyptian mythology, we have to kind of keep in the forefront of our minds just how much and how long Egyptian gods and worships all spanned. For instance, if we want to say all of Jesus worship and Christ worship stuff started 2,000 years ago, well, the entirety of Egyptian mythology.
Man, Egyptian mythology was before the whole Christianity, you know? And some will argue, you know, and I've seen evidence, so I'm not going to argue against it. Some would argue that Egyptian mythology inspired Christian mythology, you could say, or Christianity, right? So, all you Christians, don't come at me. You know what I'm saying? But, there is evidence. There is evidence that you look at and be like, I don't know. If you had a beard like me, this is what you would do. You'd be like, I don't know. You know, maybe there is something to that. Maybe there is something to it. And I think there might actually be something to it.
It kind of spanned the course of around at least 5,000 years, according to books and scholars and all that stuff like that. But most likely even longer than that. But in 5,000 years, 3,000 years, whatever, those mythologies have evolved and changed, and they kind of morphed to fit the time period and the people's ideal.
Is that like... It looked like somebody strapped to the back of a cow and like there's fire under it. It kind of reminds me of, I think back in Greek mythology, and it could be even further. It could be even beyond. Maybe Greek, whoever. There was this device that somebody made. I want to say it was in ancient Greece or something. I could be wrong, so somebody correct me in the comments. But I could be wrong. But there was this guy who made a. It was called the bronze. It was called the bronze bull, right? It was a method of killing someone that was slow, and it was like a torture method that slowly killed somebody, where they put you in this bronze bull and then they like, put the bronze bull over a flame. So bronze heats up. It heats up, right? And so pretty much you get cooked to death, but it's super slow, right? So you get cooked in this bronze bull, and this is kind of what this reminds me of on his page, except it's just like, I don't know if that's like a normal cow. It looked like it's just a normal bull with somebody strapped to the bull, and they're like cooking the bull with somebody strapped to it. But unless the person is already dead, though, I don't know. I don't know. But there was a guy, I think, back in ancient Greek who created that, the bronze bull. They created it. Maybe he was inspired by this though, like ancient Egypt, and he did it. And the irony of him creating that whole thing though is he created this torture thing, and in order for them to try it out, they used him as a guinea pig. So he pretty much was the first person to die to his own invention. It's kind of messed up. I ain't gonna say it's messed up. I don't feel bad for the man, because you literally create a torture device that other people is gonna have to be put through. So honestly, I'm not even mad that he got tortured. I just find it ironic though. I find it ironic. Angel said the brazen bull. Yeah, the brazen, the bronze, whatever. I think it was still a bronze bull though. I think that the material that created the bull was bronze. I think I could be wrong, but I guess they called it the brazen bull. I'm not too sure. I thought it was the bronze bull.
And aspirations and problems all the time. So when it comes to Egyptian mythology, the myths are very kind of hard to figure out and unscatter and really pin down one exact version of all this stuff. So I'm just going to kind of give a brief summary of the basics that seem to kind of inhabit all of the iterations of them. And in this video, we're going to be dealing with only really Apep, or Apophis. And as I said earlier, Apep, other names that he would go by were Apophis as well as Rurek, but Apep's kind of easiest.
So I wonder, I'm assuming in Norse mythology, and I learned this by, I think, playing like God of War, honestly, right? Playing God of War, there's this thing called the world snake. I forget his name. Somebody told me his name before, but again, I got probably one of the worst memories here on YouTube and Twitch. So y'all can't expect me to remember stuff. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to put that out there. But in God of War, it's called the world snake, I think, and I'm thinking maybe Apep inspired the world snake, But in One Piece, it also reminds me of back in Skypiea, there was the that serpent and that big old snake in Skypiea. I think they called it the sun god as well, and they would sacrifice like a young girl to the sun god, I guess. And I don't know if they called the snake the sun god or if he was like a representative of Nika or something. I'm not too sure how that worked, because it's weird, because in One Piece there's like two sun gods. There's sun god Nika, and then there was a snake. So maybe the snake was just a representation of Nika or something. I'm not too sure. I don't know how that worked. Like I don't know about that yet, right? So I'm thinking, because that in Skypiea, he was considered the sun god, maybe it could be based on Apep, right?
One for me to say, and it has some kind of word clues that we'll deal with later on in Japanese in this video. But Apep, also known as the serpent from the Nile, as well as the evil dragon or evil lizard or great serpent, was in some versions of the mythology born from the umbilical cord of the sun god Ra, and other versions he was kind of always
He was born from the umbilical cord of sun god Ra. The snake in Skypiea was also called the sun god. So maybe the snake in Skypiea, or the original snake, because I think there's like 2 or 3 different snakes, right? Like, because Nolan killed the one that was going to that they was sacrificing the girl to, and then he had a baby, or she had a baby, I guess. Which, I think the snake was called Nola or something. Was it Nola or something? I don't remember what the snake name was, but maybe that snake was connected. Maybe like the original snake, like the ancestor of the one that we seen in Skypiea in modern times. Maybe he or she was connected to Nika, the actual sun god.
Always present after the initial creation of the universe in the primordial chaos waters, which were known as Nu in Egyptian mythology. And doesn't matter what time period it is, Apep was always the enemy of Ra and was always known as the Lord of Chaos. Now, when it comes to ancient cultures...
And another thing, if you guys ever watch Aladdin, if you guys are familiar with Jafar, I think he turns into a big snake that looks exactly like Apep or whatever his name is, right? Or Apep, yeah. So Jafar was probably, in Jafar, that was in like the Middle East. I don't think it was in Egypt per se. I think it was like, was it Saudi Arabia? I think it was Saudi Arabia. Yeah, I think it was Saudi. But that's still in the same area, right? It's like, it's in that whole Middle Eastern area, so.
In mythologies, there's lots of things with chaos and creation. And there's a great channel called Lucifer Means Lightbringer by David Lightbringer, and he talks about in one of his videos, and I believe that he has kind of one of the best definitions for this chaos idea, where it's not so much chaos in the way that we think of things as just kind of being crazy and destructive and all that stuff. Chaos is more the unrealized potential of imaginative energy. So if creation is actually using that energy to make things and make life and all that stuff, chaos is just the form before that. If you're a YouTuber or you're an artist, you have that chaos going inside your head when you're thinking about a project. And then when you actually go to make that project or that art,
my mind is nothing but chaos. It's like a bunch of things just running rampant in my mind. It's hard to, that's why sometimes it's hard to put like certain things together, because I got so much chaos going on in my mind. So I know what you mean, Adam, but that's kind of the curse of being a creative person, bro. Like, and I don't want to just be calling myself creative. That sounds a little arrogant of me to say. And I don't mean to sound arrogant, but I do create, right? I create content, I create music. Everything I do is pretty much creating, right? But it's like my mind is just, sometimes it's hard to put compartmentalize things, because my mind, like, one thing I'm trying to do one thing, but I'm thinking of something different. I'm thinking like three things at once. Hey, let me know if any of y'all go through that. Y'all, let me know if any of you guys go through that in the comments.
art piece or that video, that's kind of the creation part of it. So we take chaos and form it into creation. But when it comes to Apep in particularly, he is unequivocally the evil aspect of chaos. There is no good or redeeming values in the chaos that the god Apep represents. It is all evil and destructive. And as I said a little bit ago, Apep is known as the enemy.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, but when Adam said that, it just made me think of SpongeBob, Mermaid Man, when he said, evil!
But you can't retire. There's evil afoot.
What? Evil?
Let's continue, man. I'm sorry.
Enemy of Ra.
Oh, man.
And he would always, during the nighttime, the Egyptians believed, battle Ra and try to essentially eat the sun. And Apep could not present himself in the physical living realm. So he would always be categorized as being in the underworld. And he would always lie below the horizon. And in most versions, he would wait in the western mountains called Baka, where the sun actually would set every day. And in other iterations of the myth, Apep would actually lie in the mountains just before dawn to attack the sun as it was rising, in an area which was known as the 10th region of the night. And when Apep would launch his attack, his roar would fill the air to signify that he was attacking Ra and to scare all the people of the world. And just like many Norse myths and all that stuff, he was also known as the World Encircler.
Bam!
Giant
So I was right. So I was right. Norse mythology did get that influence because they had that world serpent. That's exactly what I said. You know, thank you, God of War. You taught me something. God of War taught me something. I'm not even gonna lie. You know, because I'm probably least. Like, I'm not as versed in Norse mythology either. Like, I know Odin and Thor and Loki. You know what I'm saying? Those are the only gods of that. That's as far as my Norse mythology education go. Loki, Odin, all those. So yeah, appreciate it. I'm glad we got that out of the way. The world serpent is indeed connected with what's his name? Dang, I done forgot the other snake's name. I was about to say Patet. Patet. I'll wait to Adam say it again to remember. To remember it. I think it was Apep. That's his name. Apep, not Patet. Apep. I was close though.
Size and his ability to kind of appear anywhere in the world to attack Ra. And now one of the most interesting things about Apep was,
bro, we talking about the world serpent. You know what I just thought of when it comes to the world serpent. What if the Grand Line was actually a living snake? Because they say the world serpent, I guess he could wrap around the world and everything. So what if like, or what if it was like imprisoned in like a world snake or something? You know what I mean? Like I talked about Skypiea. We had those snakes in Skypiea, the big snakes that they called one of them the sun god or whatever. What if that was only like the predecessor to the actual original snake that came from the sun god Nika? Cause like Adam said something about Apep being born from, I think he came from like the navel of the sun god, right? And we know that the snake in Skypiea was called the sun god. So it just makes me think, what if those snakes had a connection with Nika, right? But what if the original snake, like the original world snake or snake that came from Nika possibly, what if it was like imprisoned in the red line? Because we know the red line like wraps around the world. We know that I think in Norse mythology, the world snake, he could wrap around the world as well. Adam, you got me thinking, bro. Even though I don't think that's likely, though. I don't think that's likely. I'm just talking out my ass. Y'all don't mind me. Y'all don't mind me.
that he was kind of unkillable. He was undefeatable. You could, every single night, technically, the Egyptians believed that Ra defeated and would dismember and scatter Apep's body. Yet the following night he would always come back. So he was kind of a immortal being in the idea that you could kill him and it would not matter. He would come back and rise and then battle Ra once again. And this was kind of the interpretation.
Damn, that sounds like Doomsday. Like, if you guys like are familiar with like DC, y'all read DC. There's a I mean, he was in the movie. Even though that Doomsday was crappy. That was a crappy Doomsday. But real Doomsday, like the one that killed Superman, bro. You kill him, he come back, and you can't kill him the same way you killed him, so he's come back stronger. So you gotta find a new way to kill him. So if you like decapitate him, he could never die by getting his head cut off again. You know what I'm saying? And he would die, but then he comes back, and then it's like you gotta figure out a different way to kill him. So it's like eventually when you run out of ways to kill him, you can't kill him.
For the Egyptians, as far as it goes, night turned to day and all that stuff. And there were some times when it would be thought that Apep actually won and was able to eat the sun, and this would be represented by a solar eclipse. And the other kind of most interesting thing about Apep is that it was the only Egyptian god that was not only never worshipped, but there were no temples or any shrines or anything like that made for him. But there were specific directions that the Egyptian people would follow every year and every day to make sure that his power was subdued and that he would continue to lose his battle against Ra, and thus the sun would rise every day. And that's where the first page of One Piece comes into all of this. This is where it actually gets really fun and crazy and kind of mind-altering, and you'll see what I mean once I start kind of explaining it. But as I said, Apep was not worshipped. There was no shrines or domains made specifically for him, but there was a ton of rituals that were performed to subdue.
I mean, if we being real, he don't seem like the type of god you would want to celebrate and worship, unless you're like a cult, you know, like, unless you're some type of a cult that worships him. I don't think I would want to worship a snake that's chaotic like that, you know what I mean? So I get it, you know, that's probably why they don't worship him. You know, it's like in Christianity, they don't have like shrines of Satan, you know what I mean? Because though he is kind of part of the whole Christian mythology and everything, he's not like the good part that you want to celebrate, you know what I mean?
Do him. People would make wax figurines in the shape of a coiled snake, and they would stomp it and spit on it. And now, of course, when Apep wasn't represented as a giant snake, he was also in the form of a giant crocodile. But that is really just the tip of the iceberg. When it came to Apep...
Ain't there like a Egyptian god that's a crocodile? Like, not like a giant crocodile. Like it seems more like a more, I don't want to say domesticated crocodile, but more like civilized crocodile. Like it's a god that's a crocodile, but it's not like an evil I don't know. Maybe it's an evil god. I don't know if he's evil or good, but it seems more like, it don't seem like a wild beast like Apep. You know what I mean? Cause I think there is like a crocodile god in Egypt culture. And I don't think it's Apep though. I think it's a different one.
There was 6 specific acts that were included in a ritual to ban the deity that needed to be included in all aspects of Egyptian art. And the really, really crazy part is that on this very first page of the One Piece manga, Oda has recreated those rituals. Now, what does it all mean? We'll get to it at the end of this video. Maybe. But I'm going to go over the specific acts first and then kind of show you exactly what I've seen and where they are on the very first page of the manga, because it's going to really blow your mind. Now, these rituals,
blow my mind, Adam. Blow my mind.
Upon Apep, defiling Apep with the left foot, taking a lance to smite Apep, fettering Apep.
The third one I think is the most obvious one, because that's pretty much what they did killing Roger.
Taking a knife to smite Apep, and putting fire upon Apep. Now, to see all these on the very first page of the One Piece manga, we're going to need to ask for the assistance of Ra and use some light to shine on the page and show us kind of the secrets behind it and exactly what's going on here. And if you've watched other videos of mine and are kind of still on the fence about all these light tricks, this one is, I think, going to really cement the idea that this is a vital clue-finding trick that Oda desperately wants us to figure out and use to ascertain huge clues inside the story. Because when we do this, each and every single one of those rituals of the keeping a pep at bay things are clearly presented to us. Now, before we get to all that craziness that Adam JinRakai has for you, my name's Mr. Pie. I'd like to point out some things for the people in the back who think that
Mr. 3.14 and some other numbers, but those are the main numbers. Mr. 3.14.
Piece doesn't.
That's for all you guys who don't, know what pi is. Just saying, pi equals 3.14 some. I think it's like infinite. I don't know if it ever stops pi, but I think the main numbers they use is 3.14. So you learn something new if you didn't know that.
Get good or start hinting at major story events until Alabasta. Those people are more disappointing than my son. But Ichiro Oda really is a genius. He's I would almost say God's gift to man. It's almost like his name means to praise God. He's so
Oda?
godly. But his hints and
Is
foreshadowing for
is
the
that
entire
real?
series, we'll get to the page one, but in this cover spread, are just immense. Now I'm not going
Is that why we say Goda? Is that like not really like a joke? Is Oda really like praise God? Hey, bro, Oda. Even his name is like super symbolic and stuff, man. This man was just this man Oda was born for this, bro. He was born for this type of stuff. Angel says Sobek, Lord of the Croco. Is that the Egyptian god that's a crocodile too? And one of the Optis, or you mean say dopest? One of the dopest god is what is say about that Sobek guy. I'm confused what you said. One of the Optis. I don't know if you're saying Otis or if you're saying Dopus. I think you might be saying Otis. One of the Otis gods is what it say about that Sobek guy. You might have to clarify what you're trying to say, Angel, because I'm a little confused. They said, but he don't look like one from what I see. Human with crocodile heath. Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. It said in Hebrew, Oda does. Oh, I didn't know that. I think I did hear that. It said Otis. Okay. Got you. That's what I thought you was trying to say. And another thing, man, why don't we talk about that egg, man? That egg that was on Roger's ship. You know, just saying. Is that egg like a snake in that egg? Like the another Nola or whatever? I don't know.
to spend too much time on the fact that the word cloud originally meant rock, or how on all pirate treasure maps, X marks the spot of the treasure, like the shape that Luffy's body's in. And I'm not going to spend too much time on how, in quotation marks, Usopp's father, Yasop's hat saying Yaso, which in Japanese means Jesus, or Vaso, which means a false friend. And speaking of Usopp, I'm not going to harp too much on the fact that the Shadow King Usopp himself is present in this cover spread. Right there in the crown. See how that's Usopp's nose? With his little hat that he has after the time skip. But Oda couldn't possibly think that.
I don't see it, Adam.
In advance, could he? And I'm also not going to harp on too much that if you follow the tracks of
are you talking about Soge King? Like Soge King's mask, like the top of it? I could see maybe Soge King. I don't really see Usopp though.
Haired pirate's eyes, they go right to Luffy's left eye. Kind of like they're going to want to steal it or something, like it's an Osiris myth. But we'll get to that. What I really want to talk about here.
Adam, you charting in dangerous territories talking about that eye, man. You talking about that eye, man. That's some dangerous territories you working in, you know. Cause we could talk about Jaya, right? We could talk about how Jaya's left eye is missing. And it's been missing even when I think Shandora was around, right? Before it got thrown into the sky and became part of Skypiea, right? What happened to the eye? You know, did something happen? Is you know, because there's some speculation. Laugh Tale right there. You know, Laugh Tale sinks into the ocean. In the slobby. Just saying. We know Ennis Lobby has that huge hole. Where did that huge hole in Ennis Lobby come from? I've been looking for answers where that hole from Ennis Lobby come from. Why is Ennis Lobby always daytime? And where did that hole come from? And then we got the gates of justice. You know what I'm saying? You know, Tachi be talking about the gates of justice, about the wall and everything. So in this lobby is a very interesting place that I don't think we talk enough about, right? But yeah, I just had to throw that out there. You know.
Though, is how weird it is that all of the red hair pirates are kind of centered around a very mermaid looking woman in Nami, and how dangerous that would be around quite a bit of swashbucklers as themselves. Now, I polled a group of cheerleaders that I have locked in the brig, and they all agreed on one thing, that if I let them go, they're not going to tell anybody about my One Piece obsession. But before they all escaped in the lifeboat that I let them use with the little hole I drilled in the back of it, they all agreed as well that it's kind of weird for a woman to be put in that situation. Almost like the whole point of Luffy's journey is to deliver Nami somewhere. Maybe like how Ra's boat, which was called the Boat of a Million Years, almost like the Thousand Sunny.
Adam, I'm gonna need you to explain what is this Nami being delivered somewhere. I'm gonna need you to explain. I need some splaining. I need some splaining to do.
Was used to carry the sun to and from the sky every single day. But anyway, back to that other idiot. God, I hate that guy. But let me know if you like this guy by leaving a comment in the web zone here if you want me to send you a sushi roll. Now hopefully you remember kind of all the stuff I was saying about Apep and some of the crazy things surrounding that god and its rituals or whatever, but I will go over them again here. But one of the first things, especially in the English translation, that kind of jumps out at me is every single night when Apep started battling Ra, he would fill the sky with his roar. So that sound effect is right here, front and center for us to see in the English translation. And another pretty crazy thing is Apep was sometimes represented by having a bunch of people and souls behind him to show how many souls he had eaten in the other world. And I think that's kind of all the people here that are cheering on Roger's execution here. Especially this guy who we've seen in Sanji's flashback, as well as the guy that gets shot in chapter 1. Just seems to be a huge kind of otherworld clue and stuff like that. And then when you actually look at this first page in the Japanese version, you'll see what I like to call the bird clouds / the Usopp nose clouds. Now, Mr. Pie talked about how clouds
now look,
originally...
I see that. I see the Usopp nose cloud. That's a lot more obvious than the crown that you pointed to in the that cover that I don't know if it was a cover page, but that double spread or that cover spread, that page spread. God dang, I can't even get that out with the crown that looked like Usopp nose. I see that though. I see that one. But you know, Usopp is Usopp D God or God D Usopp. My bad. So you got Gold D Usopp looking down on Gold D Roger. Ain't that wonderful? That's wonderful right there. That's wonderful. We got one God looking at the execution of another God. He wasn't even born. He didn't even come to existence at this time yet, right? Like it's like Usopp sent himself down in order to die for our sins, but he's not dead yet. You know what I'm saying? But I do kind of think Usopp might die by the end of the series. I think Usopp is going to die a legendary warrior. To me that's the best way to complete Usopp's his dream. Because when you look at a great warrior, great warriors tend to be killed. You know, like Achilles or just a lot of great warriors that we've seen. They usually tend to die in battle or something. I think the best way for Usopp to achieve his dream is possibly to be killed in battle and be recognized as one of the greatest warriors ever to exist. Even though it might not really be like factual, because we know like a lot of time Usopp be coasting on false information and stuff like that. So, but it will be interesting.
That rock, okay? And I believe that Usopp being a descendant or a clone or a reincarnation of Rox D. Zebek is a very, very real possibility. But that's one of those crazy things I don't like to mention in these videos because I'm not going to spend the hours of proof that
this man just said Usopp being a clone of Rox D. Zebek. I never heard that one. you know, you had my attention. I know I just messed that whole quote up, man. he said you had my attention. Now you have my curiosity. That's how I'm feeling right now. Usopp being a clone of Zebek.
That idea takes in this video. So just, an idea to be, kind of thrown out there. But enough talking about, let's finally get into it. Now, I'm going to start with kind of the most up for interpretation one. And like I said, we're going to be looking at this page through the light to kind of see all this stuff. So we're going to kind of ask for the assistance of Ra / the sun, light, whatever, to see these kind of secrets in the first page. And the first one is spitting upon Apep. Now, like I said, this one's kind of the most up for interpretation. The spot where Roger's head is cut off lines up directly to be on the side of Lucky Roo's cheek, and I believe that's kind of the interpretation of a spitting on him or whatever. But spitting also meant to stab, and I always find it so odd that for such a prominent moment in the history of One Piece, here he gets his head chopped off, but in the anime it shows Roger being stabbed through the heart, and like I said, spitting kind of meaning to stab before. I think all that could be being played with here. And I promise that these get much more concrete as we go on. And now the next up is the...
Yeah, that one was a little tough. I ain't gonna lie to you, Adam. That one was a little tough. I don't know. I couldn't see it, man. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't see it. But let's hear the other ones. So far the only one I feel as though I'm sure about is the stabbing, the spear stabbing.
Defiling Apep with the left foot. Now, once again, this one's a little bit up for interpretation because I believe that one representation of this is Lucky Roo's foot at the bottom, his left foot kind of stomping where Roger would be. But
I'm curious, where do we get the Lucky Roo part? Is that from the that page spread where we had Luffy, Nami, and the red hair pirates? Are you kind of like entangling them? Cause I forgot like Adam kind of like takes different pages and kind of connects them somehow. So I forgot you do that. So, but yeah, I guess you're taking these two pages and kind of connecting them. But yeah, I don't see it. Maybe I'm just not. My mind just ain't that chaotic like yours, Adam. Maybe my mind ain't chaotic enough like you said earlier.
I think that Oda plays around a lot with hands and feet and switching them around symbolism-wise. And we see Nami's left hand going through him pretty hardcore here. Now, this is going to be very important for the last ritual, but for here at least, I think that both of these could kind of represent this left foot idea and stomping on.
Okay, I think I do see where you got the knife stabbing Roger, because we see a knife right there from the page, and it's, pretty much impaling Roger. Or you could interpret it as it impales Roger if you connect the dots, I guess, right? If you connect it. I don't really see where the spit comes from, though. That's what I'm confused about. Where do we get the spit from?
On Apep. And I think that the feet thing can also be with these guards up here in the top panel. But I think that all of those kind of tie into this left foot and left arm idea. But the next four, I promise, are going to be super, super clear and very easy to understand and see. So the next one is taking a lance to smite.
Yeah, Adam, those first two, I don't know. Let me rewind a little bit because I want to see what list you're talking about again. I want to see the list. So the first one was spitting upon Apep. Didn't really see that one. The defiling with the left foot. I don't think I've seen that one either. Let me play a little bit.
Easy to understand and see. So the next one is taking a lance to smite Apep. And
now this one seems like the most obvious.
Giant hand, looking like it's holding one of these guards' swords or lances or spears. Now, could these two guards also be representations of the little boy and fat man atomic bombs that forced Japan to its knees during World War II? Sure, but we're not going to talk about that here. For this, I think mainly it's just Luffy's giant arm kind of holding this lance thing. Now, one of the weird things is that Roger's name means spear. It means a lot of other things too, but it mainly means spear. And then we get to a fun one, this fettering of a pep. Now, fettering means to bound the legs, okay? And I've looked at my personal version of the One Piece Volume 1. I've looked at the scans, and I wish I still had my original US Shonen Jump Volume 1 that had this page and color in it. But nowhere do I see in the manga Roger's hands bound. Okay, there's no chain in between these things. His two wrists, they look like they're...
I think in the anime, like when they set up the whole execution, and we like see Roger kind of like walking to the execution platform. I think he has chains on. I think he has. I don't know if he has ankle chains, but I do think he have like chains on his wrist, because it's like I think there's like a scene where he's being walked to the platform, and he's like walking real slow, and he has chains on. I'm pretty sure he had cut like some shackles on or something.
in chains, but there is no actual chain there that I can see. Let me know
But
if
nah,
you
I
found
don't see.
something different.
I don't see
I'm
the
not talking about
chain
the
either.
anime. I'm a manga boy. I really think that the anime is used to kind of throw us off.
Hey man, don't shit on the anime like that. Even though you're not shitting on it, but I'm just saying that was real. It was impactful in anime, man. You gotta appreciate the anime sometimes. You do. And I think, I don't know. I think working with the anime would help your case a lot better. So I mean, I would use it just to, even if you don't really mess with the anime, I would use it just to kind of help the case. But hey, do you, brother? Do you?
Clues, but also to clue us in better with other clues. But overall, I trust the manga as canon more than anything else. And I did not see his hands at all in chains, which makes me think that, okay, he's on his knees, Roger's on his knees, his feet must be in chains maybe, which would equal this fettering idea. Now, I was encouraged recently by a great new friend and a fellow YouTuber to kind of get into some of my more crazier ideas and mentions. And if you watch this long, maybe I can view it as like a sort of reward for dealing with my craziness for this long. But I believe that Roger was actually a fishman, and maybe even a goldfish or a ogre fish in some way. And just a fishman being put on land, I think, would also fit this fettering idea. But that's really crazy. I'm going to get into it in other videos. I would say just kind of some hints for that is think about how when Roger met Tom.
Roger being a fishman. That's a wild one right there. This man don't have any look of a fishman. I mean, that's not to say he can't be, but I'm just saying. You would think you would see like something on him. You know what I mean? Like some gills, some sharp teeth. Maybe, I don't know. Because every fisherman we've seen up to this point seemed like, they're pretty well defined as fishermen, Like Jack was the only one who kind of hid his fisherman features. But then we end up learning after the whole Zunisha incident.
In Fishman Island, he hugged him, and we've only seen him hug one person, and that was him. And I think that there's a lot of stuff going on there with him actually being related to him and Whoop Slap. But we'll get to that in other videos. Now, the next ritual for keeping Apep at bay is actually taking a knife to smite Apep. And this one's really easy because when you look at the first panel, from the back page, there's a giant knife sticking right through him. Now, this knife is also hitting his left leg, which I could see as a tie-in to this whole defiling him with the left foot stuff. But this knife thing, we now...
I mean, and to go back to the one before this, the where he's bounded, though they're not exactly on Roger himself, if you look at these beads that are like right above Roger, and there's like another set of beads that are like to Roger's right but our left, they're close enough to where you could possibly say they're like chains bounding him. They're not like exactly on him, but they're close enough to where you could say that though. You know?
Not only get these two soldier
I know I'm reaching with that one. I'm
executioners or
reaching
whatever
with it.
holding the knife to him.
Trying to help you, though.
This knife in the back page, I think, is the biggest clue of just, that being this idea of taking a knife to smite him. And I think you could kind of view Luffy's giant hand as the hand of God, maybe, also smiting him in some way. So all of that, I think, is a pretty easy one that ties it all together. And now the last one, putting fire upon a pep, is where I'm going to lose a bunch of you. So first, I'm going to kind of go into what I was talking about earlier in this video about when exactly I think the One Piece as we know it will be found or unleashed. And I believe that's going to be chapter 1111, which also coincides to being the very first chapter that will be released next year on January 1st, 2024. Now,
You know what would have been even like better if that chapter 1111 was released on November 11th. Bro, but Oda would have to do a hell of a lot of manipulating with his releases until then, right? Like there'll be points where we probably wouldn't get chapters for weeks just so this could happen, but I think it would be dope. Or you could do January 11th, I guess. Yeah. But then you'll have an extra one though. November 11th make the most sense, but I don't think that is realistic. But yeah, just try and give your theory some wings here.
Now we get 2 and 2 equals 4, 4 ones, all that stuff being numbers and playing with numbers and stuff like that with the dates and the chapter titles or whatever, or chapter numbers or whatever. I think Oda's planned this out since the very beginning. And I believe that all of it's actually just a big trap. I talked about in my very first video that I ever made, the For Bink's Sake, Wake Up, all that stuff about how raft actually originally meant trap. Well, the word laugh originates from the word law. And while I do think that there's a huge chance that there will be some talking skeleton face like the Pirates of the Caribbean logo or something like that telling a story at Laugh Tale, the word law actually can mean information or wisdom from a trustworthy or reliable source, which I think fits into all that stuff. But I think mainly it's a trap. Now, if you take the 4 ones and arrange them very easily, it makes a box or a treasure chest. And even more than that, there's an actual element called pirate. And this element is also known as fool's gold. And it presents itself naturally as geological blocks and squares of what looks like gold or silver. And I think that Oda is very in tune to elements.
It kind of look like a pyramid too. Like this specific one kind of like a pyramid. Like two upside down pyramid and a right side up pyramid.
And alchemical studies and all that stuff like that, and the idea that he's kind of taken an element that's called pyrite, that's known as fool's gold, and presents itself as also the form of a box or a chest, I think is all a big clue to it being a big trap. Law can also mean the state or situation one is in, and something which affects or changes, like a force. And I don't usually go too hard into the immediate predictions, and I guess a year from now isn't that immediate, but come back to this video in a year from now and let's see if I was right about this chapter 1111 thing. And if that wasn't enough for bonus points, I actually think that at that point we'll all have been introduced to the person previously trapped in this One Piece trap, Davy Jones, the Starman himself. Now, Mr. Pie talked earlier about how all of the One Piece story might be a kind of a hidden secret journey to deliver Nami to nefarious people, and that's where this putting fire upon a pep thing really comes into play. I think that Nami's arm going through Roger here is to signify her being a reincarnation of the Eye of Ra, which was always represented in a female goddess and always kind of took a vengeful course for humanity, which Nami as well as Robin often take up in the story. I believe that Nami's arm here, going through Roger in this top panel, is actually a symbolic representation of the Eye of Ra taking out its vengeance against Apep. And I think in this case, with all the hurting Luffy jokes and the weird hockey ability things that Nami seems to have, I don't actually think it's just a representation. I think
Yeah, that one's a little confusing. I'm a bit confused with. Like, I get what you're saying about the Eye of Ra, the represent, but I'm still confused what that have to do with fire. You know, like if you would have been able to use Luffy, you know, Luffy being the sun god, sun having, you know, heat, hot, fire, all that stuff, then I could have went with that. But I'm a bit confused with Nami being and her connection with Ra being what is setting Roger on fire or whatever, or with the fire and everything. I'm a bit confused. I'll let you finish. You might finish in this last minute, but I'm a bit confused.
that is actual fact that she is indeed the reincarnation of the Eye of Ra. But as always, I will get to that in future videos. A couple more down the line. That's not going to be one of the next couple of videos. My next actual video is going to kind of deal with how the drums of liberation are a huge clue into the idea of the Red Chief himself, the Egyptian god Set. As always, if you've watched the video this long, thank you so much. Continue to keep smiling and dialing, and my name is JinRakai, and I will see you in the next video.
Shout out to Adam. Give him a like. I already gave him a like. I gave him a like when he posted it in the Discord. So shout out to Adam. Y'all go follow Adam. Show him some love. He has a very interesting way of piecing things together, especially using chapters, like using other chapters to interpret other chapters. You know, I personally I get confused and I don't get it all the time. But, you know, he makes his explanations and, you know, he explains himself very well. So if you like stuff like that, definitely go show Adam some love and go support him, go subscribe and go like the video. If you like the video in general, just go to his page and like his video, help his algorithm and all that stuff. Now, honestly, I won't lie to you guys. That was a lot of stuff. I'm a bit more confused than I was since the beginning of the chapter, but it was definitely interesting take on things. I like the connection with Egypt. I feel as though I definitely agree with Adam. Like One Piece Oda, he definitely takes a lot of inspiration with different religions and theologies and stuff, and he incorporates them into the story. Like if you don't see that, I don't really know what to tell you, because it's a lot of obvious symbolism when we talking religion in One Piece. A lot of crosses. I mean, those are the most obvious ones. You know, like when you look at Mihawk and his sword, the Yoru, and Kuma with his Bible. I'm starting to think, is there more symbolism with the other Shichibukai when it comes to religions? Because we got two out of the Shichibukai who, you could even probably add Boa, right? Boa has to do with a snake. Snake has to do with the Garden of Eden. You know, it was Satan was turned to a snake, which has something to do with the Garden of Eden. You know, and I'm just connecting the Shichibukai with Christianity, right? Damn, Adam, you're just making me think of a whole different topic, right? Connecting Shichibukai with Christianity. You know, Mihawk with his cross sword, Kuma with his Bible, Boa with the snake being the serpent that had Eve, convinced Eve to eat the apple, or devil fruit in a sense, you could say, the forbidden fruit, right? And she had Adam eat it, right? So, and then I don't really have off the off the cuff connection with the other Shichibukai. But you got me thinking though. You do got me thinking. And they are. I don't know how I would connect like Doflamingo or anything, or I'm trying to think of the Shichibukai, the other Shichibukai. I'm like having freaking brain farts right now. But yeah, it's possible that they can all be connected with Christianity in a way if you made it make sense. But yeah, Adam, you're definitely right about the connection. So, but yeah, I don't really have much to add to this because honestly, I'm still trying to process some of this stuff that Adam, these jewels that Adam been giving us. But yeah, y'all, that is pretty much the video. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Also subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, comment down below. Let me know what you think about the video we just watched and my reaction. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? Let me know down in the comments. Make sure you guys are following me on Twitch so you can catch me live and you can engage with me in real time. Also, if you want to get at me directly, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and join the Discord. The Discord is going to be the best place for you guys to get at me because I'm usually the most active in the Discord. You can also send me content to react to. I have a channel in the Discord for that specifically. And if you want to be part of a future discussion stream, you must be a member of the Discord to even be able to join the discussion, you know. So make sure you're following me on Discord. All of these will be in the description box below, as well as the video we just watched. So y'all go show Adam some love. Anyway, y'all, it's your boy Sean P, the Bluff God, and I'm out of here. Peace.